This is Love Well, presented to you by Love Now Media. I'm Greg.
And I'm Helanah.
And we're your hosts. Today we're going to be talking about mental health and wellness. Ooh. This is a doozy right here, but it's a good one.
This is a doozy.
This is a good one.
Did you just say that?
Yeah.
It sounds so like
do it for
Mr.
the
Rogers.
So, mental health and wellness, like where do you stand at, like as it relates in a relationship?
The first thing I think about is therapy. Right?
Oh, gosh.
Mental health, wellness, people, therapists, like the whole taboo around seeing a therapist, pre-marital counseling, pre-engagement counseling, which is something we kind of just made up and did, which was the idea that we went to counseling. Important. Like once we dated long enough that we knew we kind of wanted to get married, we started a pre-engagement counseling, which then prepared us for what is now premarital counseling, which then prepares us for what we will continue to do, which is like keep seeing a counselor while we're married. Mm-hmm. So that's that. But therapy, tell me, I mean, what's your thoughts about therapy? You know the problem, especially in certain communities.
I went to a therapist with a person, and when I went alone, he said, you need to get out of that relationship. She's driving you crazy, and you need to leave her alone. She will never have a successful relationship until she chooses, keyword chooses, to work on herself. Both of you are held accountable in that relationship. And I was like, I need you to tell me what I want to hear. I want to be with her. He's like, nah, bruh, you don't need to be with her. You see what I'm saying?
Wait. Is that me?
No, it's not you. I'm talking about you.
Oh.
I scared you? Oh,
okay.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
I mean,
love
you just said like he.
No!
Okay.
All right.
That wasn't for me, right?
No, it's not for you.
Okay.
Wait, calm down.
I'm good.
I ain't going nowhere.
I'm good.
I love you.
Okay, love you
okay,
too.
love you
Okay.
too. All right.
Okay.
Anyway, so basically what I'm saying is, and even in that relationship I was having, I think we definitely were burning each other out. We weren't meant to be together, not at least in that time, in that moment. And I think sometimes certain energies come together through people, and they're not meant to be together. It's combustible. It just is that way. And if you're mature to look back and reflect, you start to see what you were supposed to learn from that person as well. And I think I made that mistake multiple times in relationships with people where I was overextending myself, and I know I definitely played a role. It went both ways where you know, people have certain behaviors and certain things that play out in a relationship, and you're not bringing the best of each other out. You're actually bringing the worst of each other out, and it's through dialogues, through conversations,
but my
all these
question
things,
is more so like, so let's say like, so once we do get married, right? Like what if these behaviors reappear? So you're talking about in the past with other partners, but like now we're moving into a committed long-term relationship. What do we do? What happens if you experience some of those same, you know, self-doubt or hopelessness or, you know, those types of things? How do you deal with that in a relationship? Like if I was depressed, right, whether self-identify or clinically, right, what would you do? I mean, how do you support a mate who's going through something that maybe you don't understand?
I think one of the keys is to, one, to be present. Two, it's nothing wrong with doing some research on how you can help your mate through this. The other thing is very open dialogue, full commitment to the moment and the moments that will follow, because I think some people give up too fast on those moments and let their mate work it out, even when their mate is trying to push them away.
I don't know what you mean.
So you may say, I'm fine, and you're like,
so as a partner, you're noticing like changes in that person.
No, you're not.
And then you're wondering,
you're waking up at 5 in the morning when you usually wake up at 6:30. What's going on?
Oh, I see.
Like, what's
or you're
the
not sleeping well, or you're not eating.
You're
different
not
things.
well,
Okay.
You're not eating. You're not doing the things you love doing with a smile on your face.
So how do you handle that conversation? Let's role play real quick.
Open dialogue.
Let's role play real quick.
Okay.
Okay, so which one of us is going to be?
I'm going to be the sad one. I'll be the sad one.
No, but you have the idea. I'll be the sad one.
Okay.
Okay.
Is everything okay?
Yeah, everything's fine.
You sure? Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, you don't seem like yourself lately.
What do you mean?
You're not smiling when you do things you usually smile at.
I'm smiling all the time.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
But what about, like, you keep waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and not going back to sleep till 6?
Oh, I keep eating late, so I'm just feeling indigestion.
But 3 hours, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. You sure everything is okay?
Yeah, honey, I feel fine.
Okay. How you feel about us going to see a therapist?
For what?
For us.
No, not interested.
Why?
Not interested.
But why?
I'm fine. I don't need to see a therapist. Nothing wrong with me. I don't need anybody. I don't need to pay any money for anybody to tell me what I already know.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Okay.
Okay, end scene. So that's a lot of times what happens in relationships, right? Somebody's concerned, they're trying to have a conversation, and it doesn't really go very well.
Yeah.
Let's do another role play where maybe you make some headway.
Okay. How are you feeling?
I feel okay.
You sure?
Yeah.
I noticed lately you haven't been yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't seem like yourself. You're
I'm
waking
just,
up.
Stressed out, babe.
You've been
What's
short.
going on, and
Okay.
I'm just tired, I'm just tired. I just want to kind of be by myself.
You want to be by yourself? I'm letting you know I'm here if you need someone to talk to.
Okay.
And also, how you feel about going to see a therapist, even if you need to go on your own? How you feel about that?
I mean, I never really went to go see a therapist before. That sounds expensive and unnecessary.
If you have health insurance, it's free, but there are people that do community service therapy for like $25 an hour. I mean, I think you can definitely find somebody. So
one of my aunts went to go see a therapist, and I have a girlfriend who might be interested.
So how do
I don't know. Would you go with me?
How did that work out?
I think it worked okay. I mean, she feels better.
Okay, insane, right? So I think what's happening in this dialogue right here is the headway is being made because I'm getting you to be reflective about the questions
and
that
you're
I'm
being
asking.
less pushy, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to see a therapist. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I don't want to get too deep into the mental health because neither of us are, qualified
we're not
marriage and
psychiatrists,
family
we're not
therapists.
psychologists.
But we live our lives, and we've been going to therapy separately and collectively for quite a period of time because we value...
You being a wellness consultant, how do you define wellness, and how does that attribute to a relationship?
I think wellness is really just about well-being, and from a holistic perspective, that means to me like emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, and some people would even add socially.
Okay.
It's important to understand that, like, it's kind of like the Lauryn Hill quote, like, everything is everything, right? When one thing is off, it can affect everything else. And so my approach to wellness is really very practical in the sense that it's like, okay, well, you might be eating the best of foods, but if you are really stressed out, your body's not going to be able to absorb those nutrients anyway, right? Or you may be going to church every Sunday, praying in your Bible and feeling great, but if you're having a difficult time at work, right, it may be leaking into your personal life, which may be affecting, right? So it's this idea that kind of everything comes collectively.
So for example, right?
Yeah.
You've seen young people play around, young lady, young guy, and you see how the young guy might be playing around, swinging a girl around, and she's like, Anna. And you're like, yo, that's the beginning traits of like domestic violence, right? You might think about it from that perspective. Would you say like that's like a moment where there's a lack of wellness in the community and we're being conditioned to shun mental health because we don't know what the norm, I would say normal well behavior may be, right?
Let's take a step back.
Okay.
How do you love somebody who is dealing with like depression? Or having a bout with mental illness?
Okay.
And can you tell me this without therapy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
You want to ask me?
Yeah. So you just talked about wellness, right? Mm-hmm. And talking about the things that you've done, right? We just did this role play. How do you love somebody through something like depression without even bringing up therapy? Like, what is the practice that you would, engage in with?
I think it's very difficult. I think love on its own, when everything is good and very happy and easy, can be challenging. And I think the idea of unconditional love is kind of a term that's attached to relationships. And I think when you really break that down, unconditional love to me doesn't really exist. To me, it really is a conditional love that you give. And by conditional, I mean that,
Standards.
Well, no, like, unconditional love means like, no matter what, I'll love you forever, right? But I think that the reality is that that's a condition in itself. So unconditional love is kind of like this taboo word, and really it's about loving somebody through different experiences at different moments and different times in their life. And so to me that looks like patience, which is really challenging because, again, I really believe, and I think we embody this in our relationship, that coming together as a couple is a decision that you make. You could live a single life for the rest of your life and be happy and be perfectly fine, but making like this leap of faith, jumping off of this cliff, hoping the other person's going to jump off too, I mean, it really is like, it can be very, very scary. And so how to love somebody through when they're going through something challenging, I think it really reflects on how you love yourself when you're going through something challenging. And so the patience to me is really, really key. I also think the communication is important. Like, and I've been there when you went through something.
I was about to say, like, you've seen me have some moments that
and it was really hard.
I'm definitely not, I've had some moments I'm not proud of. It's like,
right.
I think as a human being, we all have these moments that,
right.
you know, we go through, we engage with in life. How did you love me through those moments when I was burnt out and certain things came to the surface?
Yeah, I mean,
it
was a very challenging thing to do because I wanted to see him back to his normal self. And I wanted to do whatever I could to make that happen. The reality is there's this level of kind of like intentional detachment almost that you have to play in relationships where you let go of your expectations of what you want for that person, whether it's like, oh, you should really go for this promotion, and I really want you to get it, or you should really have this difficult conversation with your mom because I really want you guys to have a better relationship. I mean, you have to understand that this is a total sentient being, somebody completely separate from you that you're coupling with to make this third-party thing, but the two individual people still exist. So for me with Greg, I really had to, like, watch him suffer almost. I had to, like, let him go through it, and I had to like let go of what I wanted, like my timeline for him recovering and like, you know what I'm saying? It was just like, I felt like my hands were tied. There was nothing that I could do. But the reality was what I was not doing is exactly what you can do, right? So backing away a little bit, being present, being open, leaving the door open, like trying to be supportive, communicating constantly about what that means, and honestly just waiting. So
how do you feel? How do you feel sharing these vulnerabilities on camera about? Because we're not even married yet, and like here we are saying all these things. You're right. Really, where does that leave you?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, sharing vulnerabilities on camera was at first like weird, and then I think being able to have a conversation with you around those, it made it feel a lot easier. But I also think that my lifestyle is really like in cultivating those safe spaces for other people. So, you know, with my organization Yoga Tree and like with the work that I do, and with my background too of being a wellness educator and a massage therapist and a yoga teacher and a meditation teacher and, you know, into nutrition and just aromatherapy, I mean, everything you could think of, it's like I'm always in a space where I'm being vulnerable. So I think to me it kind of feels second nature a little bit, which may not be everybody's experience. But I really hope that folks have taken away from this series is that it's okay to have conversations even if you don't know the answer to all the questions.
And the other thing I was going to say, my side of this is as a speaker, vulnerability is key. Transparency is key. And transparency is not like giving all your secrets of your life away. That's not. It's the vulnerability piece and being willing to share a story because it evokes a sense of like personal empathy and understanding your own process and understanding your own walk. And I think when you are willing to do that openly with people about things you're comfortable with sharing, it lets people know they're not alone. So to wrap this up and put a bow on this, I think the mental health and wellness key is constantly checking in with empathetic listening, feeling what your partner is saying and going through, understanding your partner in that relationship, and also just the constant checking in with yourself and understanding that you affect another person in a relationship, so you have to be very mindful of your behaviors, of your words, and of your mental health and your emotional wellness.
I think our goal with being so vulnerable on camera, even though we're not married yet, and kind of sharing with you all our journey, is to make space for you to do the same and feel okay about it.